Good morning, everybody. It is May 6th. It is probably a quarter after 8, which is early for me. Um, the reason why it's early is because of my job. I get off, right now I'm getting off a little bit after 10, but it takes me a while to settle down before I go to bed. I'm usually in bed and finally asleep by, well, last night was a little bit after 2, which is about normal for me. The reason why I'm up this early is a combination of my brain just, I woke up to do basically get up, go to the bathroom, basically. Um, and my brain just kicked in and wouldn't let me go back to sleep. That in a factor because of I'm on an old bed system, bed frame, spring, mattress. It has lumps. And those lumps sometimes dig into my side. And yeah. So usually if I wake up early to go to the bathroom, I can go back to sleep, but not today. Um, Part of the reason why is a lot of the comments I read last night started to basically affect my brain. And I just couldn't let them go. So this morning's video is going to be a combination of a lot of different things. One of the things I do want to do before I go into the other things is I'm going to apologize to a couple people. First and foremost, my wife, because a lot of your comments from the cooking video, um, just you don't see the picture. You guys are missing a picture, and I'm going to tell you what it is. I want to try to correct it. Um, the other group of people I'm going to apologize is to the ethical group or ethnic groups who might have been a little put off by my Cinco de Mayo comments. And I'm going to explain that one too. So that will be explained. And then the third group of people I want to apologize is to those who have done your best to defend me and my wife for other people's comments. I am thoroughly getting tired of people getting on to other people for whatever reasons. I'm done with that. I'm at that point in time where I'm gonna start purging. And if I feel people are being negative for whatever reasons and I really don't care anymore, I'm removing your comments. I'm removing your comments, and if they get really bad, I'm just removing the person. So be warned that I'm done playing games. I'm tired of playing games. I have enough issues outside of this forum, off this channel, not even in my home, and I'm thoroughly done. And it's gonna happen at work, and if it gets me fired, it gets me fired. I'm tired of tiptoeing around people. I'm tired of worrying about cupcakes. I'm tired of worrying about people getting offended for me being me. Um, oh, that's my candle flickering in the background. I was like, what's that? What you guys don't realize is Jerry Ann and I have a very good, loving relationship. Um, as one person put it, she's the brain, I'm the brawn, and that's how we work. And it works for us. Yeah, we get onto each other once in a while because I don't see some of what she sees. I don't see what's going on in her brain. So we do have our clashes. We're not a perfect couple. There is no such thing as a perfect couple, and I don't care if you think you are or if you have a perfect relationship. Um, there is no perfect anything anymore. There hasn't been in over 2,000 years. So don't sit there and go, well, my kitchen's better than yours, or I wouldn't have this out on my kitchen counter. People make mistakes, and if you think your kitchen and whatnot is perfect, I'm gonna laugh, because no, nobody's kitchen is perfect. Might be perfect for you, but it's not always perfect for somebody else. Ooh, that's hot, and I forgot to stir the honey. Um, what you guys sometimes see and perceive as Jerry Ann belittling me or being a dictator, no, it's because of the fact that I'm hard headed and I'm forgetful, and there are times where, and I said this yesterday, my head could be someplace else when it needs to be focused on what me and Jerry are doing as a couple, a project, or whatever. Um, I have certain visions, she has certain visions, and they don't always link up. So we get a little bit of a hard headed issue, and, you know, things happen. But I'm tired of people coming onto my channel and belittling my wife for whatever reasons. Okay, things happen, things change. If you can't handle the changes, I'm sorry, that's on you. That's not on us. Um, Jerry Ann she does have her health issues, okay? When we lived in New York, she was a house manager, and she had to run up and down stairs because the office that she had to work in was in the basement part of the group home. And when we lived in that group home, because they have a small 1 bedroom type apartment on the upper floor, so she had to run up and down two flights of stairs on any given day while she was the house manager there before we moved out of New York. And what made it harder for her is the factor that a couple years before she got that position, we went to a Third Day concert. Now, if you don't know who Third Day is, look them up. Actually, I'll just give you a brief. Third Day is a Christian rock band. They have some very good, very powerful music. And well, that particular concert, we were. They had what the area we were in was like. It was a nightclub that they basically played at, and it had 2 levels. We were on the second level because it wasn't as crowded, and she had enough room to basically get her groove on, so to speak. Um, she had during that concert, she had, I guess, twisted her knee just right to hurt it. Now we didn't know the severity of the injury until like a couple days later when she finally said, "I need to go see a doctor." And we went to the doctor, and I'm sorry, I've got this hair that's sticking out that's kind of irritating me. Um, she went to the doctor and found out she had torn her meniscus in her knee, which became septic. So she had to go under surgery and get a PICC line up her arm and into her chest, just a few inches away from her heart, to pump antibiotics into her heart. And ever since then, she's kind of gone downhill. Her knees aren't the same. She's not as active. She has ailments and physical problems that prevent her from doing a lot of activities. And she used to be a very active person. Now, if you believe me or not, that's your problem. But I know her health. I know her conditions. I know her issues. So, if I'm the one running around doing a lot of stuff for her, it's because of the fact that either A, she's buried herself in her crafting, or B, her knee and back is giving her issues. And as a husband who had to literally care for her while she was practically bedridden for 3 months during that time frame, during that period, so be it. I'm going to do what I feel I need to do to help her. Now, if there are times where I feel I can't help her, or I'm having issues of my own, then we work it out. So, for those of you who are looking at a small picture, open your freaking eyes and see the bigger picture. Now, as for those who might have been slighted or emotionally whatever because of the fact that I dissed Cinco de Mayo, you know what? I'm gonna go out and explain something. I am the son of an American GI. I have been all over the world. I'm born in Clark Air Force Base, Angeles City, Philippine Islands. Clark Air Force Base is no longer existing because Mount Pinatubo, the volcano outside of Angeles City, blew its top and basically covered Clark Air Force Base in volcanic debris. So, what gets me about America and all these holidays that aren't, I'm not going to say they're not proper, because you know what? I know what Cinco de Mayo is. I also know what Columbus Day is. I'm not happy about either holiday. You know why? One, there are so many cultures and nationalities and whatnot in America before Cinco de Mayo was celebrated here in America, here in the U.S. of A. Where's all the holidays from all the different nations that were brung over that we don't celebrate? One of the biggest holidays that bugs me the most is Columbus Day. Why? We celebrate Columbus Day because he discovered America. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. You know who actually discovered America 600 years before Columbus? Leif Erikson, a Viking, a Norseman. Why don't we have a Leif Erikson Day that's celebrated in mass here in the States? We don't. They do in Canada, but they don't do it here in the U.S. And Columbus didn't discover the main body of the Americas. He discovered the Caribbean. Yeah, he discovered the Caribbean. So, in technicality, neither Leif Erikson or Columbus discovered what is now called the United States of America. So, if you feel slighted by my dissing of Cinco de Mayo, well, I'm sorry. And I do have Hispanic friends. I have Hispanic associates. I talk to them about it. They understand what I'm saying because why not? If we're gonna celebrate Cinco de Mayo, why don't we just celebrate Leif Erikson Day? It's just it is what it is, and I'm sorry if that one particular incident was disheartening. It's me, and it's just the way I feel, and I don't feel negative or how do I want to describe it? I don't consider myself racist or a bigot or any of those things because I was raised in an environment where, especially racism, the military had every practical nationality or religion or race that you can think of that could join the military. And I mean, my father had Hispanic friends, black friends, um, Jewish friends, Catholics, non Catholics, Protestant, Presbyterian. I saw more different nationalities and belief systems and skin color in my youth growing up in the military that I didn't know what racism was until somebody pointed it out, and I just kind of went, really? We used to joke about that all the time in the military. I mean, look back at in history at World War II, especially World War II, where in World War II, when we were overseas fighting Nazis and whatnot in Europe, they had terminology for the various nationalities, whether they were friend or foe, that were basically easier ways to say what they were instead of trying to say their full pronunciate or their full nationality. I mean, French were called frogs. The British were called Brits. Germans were called Krauts. We were called Yanks. Does that mean that everybody who uses those terms are racist? And if that's the case, you've got problems. Okay. Um, there's two different people from the past, basically. Not just my past, but there was a Marine. Marine drill sergeant. Everybody called him Gunny. He had two different shows. He was a judge on one of the TV series. Um, he was a Marine drill sergeant who became famous in TV shows, and everybody called him Gunny. And he put out a post one time that basically it's to the point. Basically, what he said was, in my day, to be called a pussy was not offensive. Nowadays, it is. You pussy. Are you offended yet? And that's what he said. We have become a nation of cupcakes and easily offended people. I grew up in the 70s and 80s, and throughout my life, I've had issues in one form or another with learning disabilities. And I was called dumb, I was called slow, I was called an idiot. I was put down because I was not exactly up to speed with everybody else around me. And in the military, to diagnose somebody with attention deficit disorder and hyperactivity was not, they didn't know how to deal with that. So I was just labeled slow. I was told that I would never read above my, I was always 2 years behind in my reading, and they told me I would never be able to read at my own grade level. By the time I was out of high school, I was reading, according to my high school examiner, college level materials. I was 2 years ahead of most people when it came to reading, and they found out why. You put something in front of me to read that I'm not interested in, I have problems with it. You put something in front of me that I'm interested in, I excel. By the time I was out of high school, I was reading this person's books. And they categorize this person's books in high school as philosophy, Native American interests, and college material. Not high school material, college material. I was reading books on nature, I was reading books on different religions, I was reading books on philosophy, I was reading books on metaphysical properties. That's not high school level stuff there, people. Okay, that's college level stuff. And I proved beyond a shadow of a doubt I'm not what they labeled me as. Now, the reason why I excelled instead of like some kids nowadays don't excel is because of the fact that I didn't have video games. I didn't have Nintendo or Pac-Man or any of that stuff. If I wanted to play video games, I had to go to an arcade. That, in fact, my father, being the military man he was, would not basically allow myself to just flounder. I'm I was raised in an environment where if you did not like what was going on in your world or in your environment, you either left it as it is and moved on, or you fought to change. Nowadays, people want it easy. They basically, as a lot of people have put it, our nation and our youth have become a bunch of cupcakes, easily offended, easily put off, and just would rather take the easy way out than work, than get off their butts and do something really worthwhile. There's only a handful of kids that I know nowadays, and I've worked with them, I've met them, I see them on a semi regular basis, that they work their butts off. I've trained kids, and when I've trained them hardcore. I don't go light on anything. It's all out or nothing for me, and most of the time it's all out because I'm not one to accept nothing. Yeah, some of those kids excelled. They did great. They're still working. Some of them are just like, nope, couldn't handle it. They quit. Not just because of my training, but because of the factor my bosses, most of the bosses I've ever had, except for my current one, are they were really nice people, but they expected you to do your job. And if you didn't, you got harped at. I don't come on here to offend anybody. In fact, the opposite. I come on here trying to uplift people. Um, but I know I'm not the greatest spokesperson out there. And I am who I am. I don't tiptoe. I don't do the cupcake. I don't do the I'm sorry if you're offended. I am who I am. If you get offended, that's on you. That's not on me. If you cannot handle somebody who's going to be real, hard, and just to the point and not beat around the bush, as my father used to say, I'm sorry. Obviously, you've either got issues with people making comments that might have to do with a race, a religion, a creed, a nationality, whatever. Do you realize that America was basically built on men and women who got sick and tired of being dictated to or forced to believe in a particular religion, or basically the first 13 colonies were basically men and women who wanted to get away from British rule. And then Britain came over here to try to rule them, and those 13 colonies went, get the heck out. We're going to fight you. Guess what? I'm descended from those people. And I still carry that. No, I'm not going to be freaking controlled. I will work with you. I will do the jobs that I'm supposed to do. But that does not mean you're my master. And most of the nationalities that I'm from are descended from Irish, Scottish, Germanic, or German nationalities, which are basically Germany, Norway, Sweden, Finland, and Scandinavia. Those nationalities are fighters. They don't take crap from nobody, and I'm tired of it. I'm tired of taking people's crap. And if you're from Australia, I'll tell you what, that nation, their forefathers, when they came to Australia, were mostly prisoners or indentured service. Well, not even indentured service. That was here in America. Most of those people were original prisoners from Britain. And most of those people weren't even like hardcore prisoners like we have nowadays. They were just people that were arrested or incarcerated for basically not wanting to be under British rule anymore. Did something against the crown. And some of them were just so petty that it wasn't even funny. And it's amazing how some countries would rather throw out their unwanted than try to find out why they do what they do. So, yeah, if you have an issue with my videos or my wife, that's your problem. That's your hang up. I'm done apologizing for whatever your problem is, because obviously you've got the problem. And if you see it, that's one thing. But if you want to harp about it, nag about it, basically fight with other people who are positive and see the good out of the videos, bye. Really, literally, bye. I'm not gonna have those comments no more. I'm I'm really offended by the factor that you're gonna come on to this channel and nag or harp or bitch or whatever negative vibes I'm getting off your messages and whatnot. No. I've already lost at least one, maybe two viewers because of other people's negativity. And if that's why you joined my channel, to be on here to be negative and to basically nitpick about every little freaking thing you hear or see without knowing the full picture, this is not a warning. This is a final notice. I am not dealing with it no more. If you're having problems because of something you see from Jerry Ann's channel or hear from Jerry Ann's channel that you didn't like and you want to come over here and harp about it, don't. Keep it to yourself. Me and my wife are doing these channels not to basically be filled with more negativity, because there's enough of it in the world that we don't need extra. You know, I'm done with this whole Jerry this, Jerry that, blah blah blah. You know what? You got a problem with Jerry Ann, and you're from her channel, and you're coming over here to complain about it on my channel, don't. Leave it, talk to her about it. We're both basically done with all the people who want to be negative, who are trying to drag us down and keep us from being positive and keep us from doing these videos. No, I'm not dealing with it. And if you bring it over here, guess what? You will get recoil. There will be recoil. Because there's enough viewers who've seen both of our channels, who love both of us for whom we are, for the content we put out, that we don't need the 1 in a dozen negative nillies. I'm happy that my cooking video took off the way it did. I'm happy that I got a bunch of subscribers from it, and a part of it is the editing factor, and the editing factor came from Jerry. She helped me edit this video. In fact, for those of you who enjoyed that video, it's going to get revised, because I was told that there was a section of audio that was missing, and Jerry Ann had seen that comment and reviewed the video while I was at work, because I work. I don't have the luxury of spending a whole lot of time trying to edit these videos. So she helped me with that video, and she helped me correct the audio problem. So the video will get revised. It will have the original intended title of Cooking with the Hensons and not Cook with Me. It will have the edited audio. So it will be a slightly new video. It will be the same video, it's just the audio. I keep on saying video. The audio will be put back in there because you did miss a section of audio where I was talking about. I I don't even remember what I was talking about. I just know I was talking about something that Jerry Ann felt that it should be in there, so we corrected that. Hopefully that revised video will be up within the next day or so. I know my content changes from day to day, and I do try to keep a positive vibe as much as possible. Every so often I come up with a video, or a video comes out like this where I'm apologizing to those I feel that need to be apologized to. Um, it I try to keep my videos as positive as possible. Like I said, every so often I have to put a video out like this to basically without lack of better words besides apologizing, because that is sincere, but without a lack of words, discipline my children. Yes, I consider you my children because you're coming on here to listen to me. If those of you who have issues with me basically telling you to stop harping about my wife or nitpicking about my videos, you got a problem and you need a forum to air out your issues, there's a lot of people who will listen to you and agree with you on your own channel. Because once you have your own channel, you can say and do whatever you dang well please. But since this is not your channel, you can't always just say what you dang well please. You will get disciplined in one way or another. But if you haven't turned the video off by now because you just don't like what you hear, today's little tidbit, and I think that today's little title for this tidbit is quite fitting. The title of the little read that I did this morning is called "The School of Pain," and it comes from Psalms 119, 65 to 80. And I'm not going to read you the whole thing, but it talks about how God comes through kind of loudly when we're going through our pains. And I kind of believe he did today. Because one, I didn't sleep as long as I normally did. As soon as I was up just to go to the bathroom, my brain kicked in and just screamed, do this. This. The apology, yes. The trying to let you know the issues that Jerry Ann has and why I do what I do because of those issues. Let me tell you, it speaks loudly when a spouse will do about just anything to care for his or her spouse. In the situation where Jerry Ann had that PICC line for her septic issues because of her knee, I did a lot for her. Now I'm not going to go into details because some of the things that I did, they're personal. Yes, I cooked for her, I cleaned for her, I took care of her, I helped her get up from the recliner that she was in the living room onto the porta potty that was sitting next to her and clean that out when I had to. There's a lot of things that I did that most people would be like, ew, that's a little wrong, but she was having medical issues that if we could have afforded for her to stay in the actual hospital for that period of time, they would have been doing it. Excuse me. but because of the expense, and our insurance at the time was really good, and the insurance paid for the medical procedure. They paid for a doctor to a well, not a doctor, but a visiting nurse to stop in at least once a day or so to check her vitals, check the machine that we had. She had to have for the PICC line. Showed me how to change out the cartridge of antibiotics for the machine, little things like that. And I was working. I had my day job or evening job where I was gone most evening. Well, yeah, I was gone 5 days a week, from like 12, 1 o'clock in the afternoon to 8, 9, 10 in the evening. Granted, the job was about a quarter, maybe less than a quarter of a mile from the house. I mean, it was one bus ride if I took the bus, or a 10-minute drive on in the car. Um, you know, and I'm still getting messages. I just got a message saying your cooking was a hit. You need to do more. I love that. Um, and I do plan on doing more cooking videos. I have, off the top of my head, at least two more recipes I can do that are fairly simple. Um, somebody said, somebody asked about my chili mac because I had mentioned that once before. That might be the next cooking video tonight or tomorrow night after work, because Jerry Ann and I are the only two who eat the chili mac. And that's an easy one person, easy peasy, no difficult type video. And I am going to reiterate this. I think I said something yesterday about it. Jayanne was not being bossy last night, on that cooking video. She was reminding me of different things that I might have slipped up on. Um, like she reminded me it's a quarter tablespoon of the ground ginger, and I was just saying ground ginger. Um, she reminded me about the dishes that we use for prepping and cooking and serving. Um, if it seemed like she was being bossy, she wasn't. She was being, I'm gonna say, somewhat assertive, not in the fact that she was being assertive and like she knew better. She was being assertive because, one, when I'm underneath the exhaust vents by the stove, I can't hear much. So she has to raise her voice to get my attention. Two, when I get in my zone, she has to either call my name multiple times or be a little loud. Um, her volume in her voice, um, most New Yorkers are like that. Most New Yorkers are a little loud, because of the factor the New York environment, and I'm talking about Long Island. I'm not talking about upstate New York. I'm talking about Long Island towards the city. Noise levels can be a little loud. Street noises, other people talking, machinery, just various things. So I don't take offense to anything she has to say. If she says something I do take offense by, which is rare, I let her know. I'm not a puppet. She's not a puppeteer. I'm not a robot. She's not a controller. Um, so those of you who think she's being rude, bossy, or a puppet master, stop. She's not. Um, nobody's been my puppet. Well, shouldn't say nobody. I cut my so-called strings after my short period in the military, and I basically I never let anybody control me. After my father passed away, In fact, I stood on, well, you shouldn't say on, I stood by the grave as they lowered his casket and basically said, I will never be afraid of anybody ever again. And I haven't been. I might be a little timid because of the factor I'm getting used to the person, or I might act a little timid just to make people think they're in control when they're not. I'm smart that way. I know a few of you who appreciate my videos will tell me that there was no need for an apology or to apologize. Yes and no. The reason why I say yes and no is because, yeah, I can understand that my words about certain things can be offensive. I'm only sorry that the person took offense to it because, like I said, America is a melting pot of nationalities, creeds, colors, and belief systems. And if you're going to be, in my mind, if you're going to be in America or be an American citizen and you take offense to somebody saying something about your creed, culture, religion, holiday, whatever, that's kind of on you. Because, like I said, I mean, there are certain cities, and I can name three of them right off the top of my bat: New York, Chicago, and LA. Those three cities are literally, if you've ever been, and not just been to visit, but been for long periods of time, or have family that live in those areas, and you deal with your family a lot, you would realize that those three cities are the largest melting pots in this nation, and people in those cities deal with all kinds of racial slurs or disses or put downs of their beliefs or their culture or one thing or another, and they shrug it off like it's just water off a duck's back. Guess what? So do I. Yeah, I get a little, you know, hairy when people want to basically tell me that they're better than I am because of this, and this, or their, culture should be more prevalent or whatever. That's fine. That's how you feel. I feel the way I feel about my past, my history, my descendants, my ancestors, not descendants, my ancestors. Um, does that mean I'm gonna get all riled up just because of the fact that somebody dissed it? No, not always. No, I might be a little like, oh wow, so you don't understand or don't feel a certain way. That's fine. That's your feeling. That's your opinion. You know. But anyhow, I have no idea what time it is because there's not a clock in here, and I don't want to. Well, I know I've been doing this for almost 45 minutes. I I appreciate that you all have opinions. That's fine and dandy. I'm not saying you can't have your opinions, but if you're gonna be negative towards, I mean, I don't care if you're negative towards me because I've had that all my life and I just brush it off. But if y'all are gonna start being negative towards my wife, that's gonna end. That I'm tired of basically having people basically complain about her. You got a problem with her, you got a problem with me, you got a problem with these videos. I didn't invite you. I didn't say, hey, you, come watch this. No. You chose to subscribe to our channels. You chose to sit down and watch our videos. Okay? You have the choice of making comments, but we have the choice of either rebuking you, removing you, or ignoring you. For the most part, I ignore people because the factor I can't force you to see what's really going on. You're taking snippets or bits and pieces of the video and dissecting them and analyzing them and putting in your comments. You're not seeing the whole thing. You're not viewing the whole picture. You're just taking what you want to hear or what you want to see and saying whatever about that. Okay? I had a person who made a comment about, excuse me, bug spray on my counter near the stove. And then they wanted to sound or act like that their kitchen is immaculate, perfect, everything's in the right space, that nothing is out of place or out of the ordinary or in the wrong spot or whatever. You know what? I call BS. Reason why? I don't know what your kitchen looks like, but I can tell you right now, nobody's freaking perfect. Nobody. So don't act like you are. Okay, I know. I know. I don't act like I'm perfect. I know I'm not perfect. I know I've got a lot of problems. I can tell you right now, if it wasn't for Jerry Ann being in my life, one, I don't know if I'd be doing these videos, but two, if I was doing these videos, I would be an absolute, complete, and utter wreck. Okay, my house might be cleaner than it is. My house might be smaller than it is. I might not have a personal space. I might be doing this from my own bedroom on a maybe not this roll top desk, but a similar desk. But I can tell you that one, anytime I would get upset at work or whatnot, I would probably quit. I wouldn't try to hang in there. I wouldn't try to go through the daily grind. I would be like the average single 40-year-old male who just has too many problems to deal with and doesn't want to deal with them all. That in fact, my sleep schedule, if I was unemployed, I might be doing this at midnight, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning instead of 8 o'clock in the morning. I can tell you from my past, I slept when I felt like sleeping, and I played video games or did whatever I wanted to do when I wanted to do it. And I'd be living off my mom instead of basically trying to make a living. Before I met Jerry, before I got married, I was a complete and utter disaster. This would have been a gnarled mess. This would have been a gnarled mess. You guys complained about how there was at one point in time you guys complained about how I looked when I was doing my videos because I just crawled out of bed. I didn't even attempt to comb my hair or do any kind of grooming. I mean, I woke up this morning, I looked in the mirror, and I was like, oh, Albert Einstein has walked into the house. Okay? I can tell you that before I got married, I wasn't worried about a single damn thing, and I didn't care about a single damn thing. I literally, all I did was take care of mom. Cooked, cleaned, she did laundry, she paid bills, she earned money. I know from pictures and stories about Joanne that she's always been, even after we got married until she had the knee problem, a very active person. Run up and down stairs, do all kinds of projects, worked her tail end off at her job. She earned her management position. She earned her assistant management position. She earned basically everything she got. Okay. Now, as for her spending and financial issues, I don't know what they were. Don't know. Um, I don't know if I enabled her to spend the way she does now. Don't know. I know I spend a lot myself. Granted, I spend $60 on a video game or $60 on something I want, while she'll spend the same amount of money and get 2, 3 outfits from one of her clothing stores, or 3 bags worth of crafting supplies for the same amount of money I spend on one item. The difference between her spending and my spending is I spend a bulk amount of money, 40, 50, 60 plus dollars on one item. She'll spend the same amount of money and get a car full of groceries or a car full of crafting supplies, or a lot for the same amount of money. The difference between the two of us is how we spend the money and what we spend it on. So yeah, we might spend the same amount of money, but she'll get more than I do for the same. I'm going in circles on that one. I'm sorry. But she gets stuff to basically do her crafting, her DIYs, her shows. Most of what I've been getting lately, unfortunately, has been tchotchkes and just, I wouldn't say useless stuff, because I do have some use for it, but I don't have the use for it right now. I'm hoping in the near future, let's say 5 years or less, that one, we will be making enough money through YouTube that I don't have to work a full-time job, maybe not even a job outside the house, because I'll be doing this. That, in fact, we're hoping we'll earn enough money for an RV, even if it's a small C-Class. In fact, we've been looking at the Thor Elite, or the Thor brand, or the Thor model RV. We've seen a couple of them within a fairly decent price. And since we basically don't owe money on our car no more, that extra money that's been for the car has been used for paying bills. But we've seen older models, like last year's model. For granted, we got the van at $30,000. The RV was $70,000, and the payments for an RV would be about the same, if not a little bit more than what we were paying for the van. So it's kind of like one of those, do we save up for it? Do we try to save up enough to put a down payment to get it and pay $400, $500 a month and hope we're making that kind of bank to pay all our bills plus the RV? Maybe in 5 years. Don't know. But I would like to basically be able to, especially during the warmer months, travel around to the various Renaissance fairs in areas that I have not been in. I've got the clothes for it. That's what I've been wanting to do. It's kind of my dream. Got to follow the dream somehow. But we are doing what we can do to basically make ends meet and hopefully make plans for the future that involves an RV, or even if it doesn't involve an RV, involves going to new places. I've seen DIY dupes, maybe not dupes, but I've seen various videos where people have taken their minivan and basically laid, either taken out the back seats or laid the back seats out, put a platform so they have storage underneath the platform, and an air mattress on the platform, and a mini cooler that basically plugs into a cigarette lighter to basically turn it into a mini refrigerator. I've seen all kinds of different methods of basically going camping on a dime, or not really RVing, because you don't have a bathroom. You'd have to use a public facility or a porta potty, which I'm not interested in dragging around. But I've seen people basically turn minivans and even the backseat of a SUV into a sleeping area, while the cargo area of the sleeping of the SUV was for cargo. And granted, that's great for a single person, but when you're a couple, you need a little bit more space. And I've looked at the space in the back end of the minivan going, it wouldn't be 100% comfortable, excuse me, like sleeping on a king size mattress or even a queen size mattress. It would be a little bit bigger than a full, but smaller than a queen. Yeah, I can see me and Jerry probably doing that for a day or two, but not for extended periods of time like you could in an RV. Um, gotta live the dream. Gotta focus on the dream and aim and reach for it. But this video is now almost an hour long, and I am sorry for that. I'm pretty sure a lot of you would be like, no problem, you didn't have to apologize for the length of your video. Um, I'm going to extend a very big thank you to everybody. Um, the cooking video, like I said, the cooking video took off. I went from 779 viewers to 802 viewers in a 48-hour period, which is awesome. And I'm pretty sure that's because of Factor Darian helped me edit the video and add hashtags, making it easier for people to look up my video. I'm going to extend another apology to the couple who joined my channel, but then of course I made a comment about Cinco de Mayo and how I feel it's a fake holiday, but it's not really a fake holiday. It is an actual important Hispanic holiday for those from the... Now, please correct me if I say this wrong, because sometimes I get this mixed up. Hispanic is South America. Spanish is from Spain. So, the Hispanic community who celebrates Cinco de Mayo, it is an important one for them because it is their Independence Day. Great. I have no dislikes or anything like that for those who have won their independence from a tyrannical nation or tyrannical system. I celebrated when the various smaller Russian nations separated from Russia and its dictatorship. Freedom is one of those things that is God's given right. We all have the right to be free from oppression and tyranny. And so I don't try to oppress anybody. I do not try to put down anybody. I just have... I guess my biggest hang up lately has been the factor that America celebrates all these different nationalities and their different freedoms and their different religions and their different holidays, yet we still have not seen the importance of other people that we don't celebrate that often, like Leif Erikson. I think because of the fact that he discovered what is basically Nova Scotia and a good chunk of the eastern seaboard here in North America, that he should be celebrated as much, if not more so, than Christopher Columbus, who discovered the Caribbean region. So I get a little miffed, basically, when, everybody's like, yay, it's... I'm like, okay, yeah. I mean, I lived in Germany for 3 years. And during the 3 years that we were there, we used to go down to the Mosel River, which was one of the major riverways in Germany, and they would have a flotilla that would go down the river and shoot off fireworks in celebration of America's 4th of July, because the fact that we helped liberate Germany from Hitler and his Nazi regime. And I'm like, wow, this is great. I didn't think a foreign nation would celebrate an American holiday. Here I am 40 years later going, wow, we're celebrating Hispanic holidays, we're celebrating Catholic holidays, we're celebrating all kinds of American holidays, and we're celebrating Hispanic holidays. But, okay, yeah, a lot of the holidays that America has adopted or adapted to originated from Europe, yet we celebrate a historical figure who discovered the southeastern region of the United States, while a Norwegian person, a Viking, a Norseman, discovered the northeastern part of America, yet we don't recognize that. Was it because of the fact that it was 600 years before Christopher Columbus, and that part of history was not well written or well documented? I don't know. So it's one of those like I don't understand. But anyhow, I do apologize for the diss. Somebody said it was racist, and I was kind of like, no, it's not. I am not a racist. I don't recognize that as racism. I recognize that as okay, we're celebrating their Independence Day, but what about the other holidays that we could be celebrating that nobody recognizes because of the fact that it was not well documented in history? I don't know. But anyhow, I apologize again. But yeah, another hour-long video, and I'm sorry. This is my mind with very little sleep. Enjoy. No, anyhow, if you enjoyed this video, if it helped you understand what's going on, give it a thumbs up. If you have positive, creative messages you want to leave behind, go ahead, do that in the comment box. If you're new to my channel and want to see more, go ahead and give that bell a tap. It will put in a new video. It will let you know when I put in new videos. New cooking videos will be coming soon. The next one, I am strongly positive that it's going to be chili mac tonight or tomorrow. Sometime before the weekend's over with. Excuse me. Anyhow, have a good day. God bless. Be safe.